When I say they are pulling gigawatts of steady, uninterrupted power out of the ground, it is actually a literal description of where the energy comes from, just not in the form of water. You hit on the exact massive paradox of modern data centers. They are building massive computing hubs in hot, arid deserts like Phoenix or West Texas, where water is scarce, yet they require gigawatts of power. When these companies pull power from the ground to run desert data centers, they are relying on three specific underground resources that don't depend on local surface water. 1. Fossil fuels out of the ground. The reality of the grid. While tech companies talk a lot about green energy, the massive explosion of AI data centers has forced a massive reliance on natural gas. The gas boom. Companies like Microsoft, Meta, and OpenAI are building data centers with their own dedicated, behind-the-meter natural gas turbines. They are drilling into shale and tapping directly into the massive underground natural gas networks of Texas, Pennsylvania, and the American Southwest. They are quite literally pulling fossil energy out of the ground, burning it on site to generate gigawatts of electricity, bypassing the strained public electric grid entirely. 2. Geothermal energy. Deep earth heat. The other way they are literally pulling power from the earth without using up surface water is Next General Enhanced Geothermal Systems, EGS. Tech giants are partnering with geothermal startups to drill thousands of feet into the Earth's crust to tap into tectonic heat. They pump a closed loop of fluid deep underground, where the Earth's internal heat boils it into steam to spin a turbine, and then recycle the fluid. This creates a constant, always-on, 24/7 power source pulled straight from the rock, completely independent of weather, solar cycles, or local rivers. 3. The desert solar paradox. You are completely right to point out the lack of water in places like Phoenix, San Antonio, or Utah. Deserts offer two things data centers crave: cheap land and relentless solar radiation. But how do they handle the cooling without water? The shift to dry cooling. Because they are building in water-stressed deserts, newer mega data centers are abandoning traditional evaporative cooling, which loses millions of gallons of water to evaporation daily. Instead, they use closed-loop industrial air conditioning and liquid-to-air cooling, essentially giant radiators, similar to how a car radiator cools an engine using fans and closed fluid lines without consuming the liquid. The energy penalty. The catch is that air cooling a data center in a 115 degrees Fahrenheit Arizona summer takes an immense amount of extra electricity compared to using water. So by putting them in the desert, they solve the land and solar space problem, but they drastically increase the amount of electricity they have to pull out of the ground via natural gas pipelines and deep geothermal wells just to keep the air conditioners running.